This podcast is produced and managed by Kangaroo Fern Media Lab, Australia's independent video and podcast company. We do the podcasting hard bits so you don't have to. We make podcasts easy. Book a call at www.kangaroofern.com. www.kangaroofern.com.
You are listening to episode 6 of Wellness Fridays with Coach Joy Karen.
Let's talk well-being and mental health. Whether you're an aspiring coach, content creator, or podcaster, you need to take care of yourself as well. Wellness Friday with Coach Joy Karen.
What's up, pod friends? It's me once again, Joy Karen, your creativity coach. Wellness Fridays is a weekly show created for podcasters and content creators. This show aims to talk about creativity, inspiration, and overall well-being so you can keep doing what you love most. Before we start, I would like to thank my podcast management group, Mika of Kangaroo Fern Media Lab, and to your amazing team for this platform and for the opportunity to speak and to spread the spark of creativity all over. So more and more people can do what they love most as they hashtag sparkle within. All right, so this is going to be a very interesting episode because we're going to talk about creativity. Creativity, inspiration, and overall well-being is part of creating content. It is the core of this podcast as a whole. In this day and age, content, as they very well and repeatedly say, content is king. And this creates a demand in churning content that is 1, interesting, 2, relevant, and 3, timely. Being podcasters, I know a lot of you can relate to this, that this demand may pose as an unnecessary block in our creativity flow. I have discovered that whenever I feel that creative block or resistance, I find to limit myself. And for me, that has become an ultimate recipe for being unable to create content, or simply put, being the ultimate recipe to being unable to create, period. And this happens when I limit myself. And these limiting thoughts sound like this. Shut up, Joy, you don't know what you're really talking about. No one listens anyway, so why bother? There are far more better content out there, so just quit. And if I give into these limiting beliefs that are mostly assumptions, I am very well aware of that now, that all of those are assumptions, then I am also preventing myself from being creative. So I agree with Jordan Peterson when he said that a creative person's ultimate sin is not to be creative. Before we dive into that, let's talk about what creativity is. Creativity is being able to create, perform, or think, or something in a way that hasn't been done before. It is the ability to use our own gifts and strengths to be able to think of new ideas, solutions, and approaches. It's like seeing the connection and maximizing this relationship of varying ideas. So if you tend to limit yourself, like what I usually do before, if you limit yourself, then being creative can be very challenging. Creativity and creating involves messing up, making mistakes, being persistent, and letting go of self-limiting beliefs. I know there's a lot that I've said, a lot to be unpacked, but for this episode, self-limiting belief plays a very important role. Because in my experience, and I understand that a lot of content creators as well have this self-limiting beliefs. If you are made to create, if you are made creative, then you have to live up to it. If you resist or limit yourself or permit those almost a month of training, which I truly enjoy because I get to socialize and I get to learn from all of these coaches, all of these mentors. And it was such an amazing start of my career in that kind of industry. But when I started working on the floor, as they call it, or being an actual call center agent, it was really, really hard. The reason, it was because I was not able to really maximize my skills and my strength and to apply it in my own task. So what happened then is when I had that feeling that a lot of things are misaligned, I knew I had to make a choice. And so, after just a short stint of being part of the BPO industry, I quit and I moved on to a career in education, which I got to maximize all of my gifts and all of my strengths. So, again, let me emphasize the part where being creative means using your own gifts and strengths, your own, with all caps. So, how can you use your own gifts and your own strengths if you are not fully aware of what these are? Right? Imagine if you have a list of all of your strengths and you focus on it each and every time you create content. Well, for me, I can only imagine that it's like a hall pass, it's like a permission slip that gives you that permission to create content with courage and confidence. And that's how important self discovery is. Self discovery is important to anyone, most especially for creatives or for creative people. Because when you know more about yourself, you're more confident, you're very, very well aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, and you know how to play with all of the skill sets that you have. Self discovery plays a very huge role in helping us unveil our gifts, talents, and strengths. It allows us to be our own cheerleaders by giving us the opportunity to truly appreciate ourselves more. So, how can you be able to produce creative and authentic content if you haven't put in the time and effort to discover who you really are? In college, I took up psychology.
We will be right back.
Are you passionate to help other podcasters? Wanted to connect to growth-minded podcasters and service providers? The Podcast Creators Society is now open for new members. Head over to www.podcastcreatorsociety.com/community. Are you ready to finally start your own podcast? Maybe you already have one, but need a podcast manager to help you level up. We're here for either. Book a call at www.kangaroofern.com, www.kangaroofern.com.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
And I was really geeking out on one particular course or one particular subject that we had then. It was focused on studying how psychological tests are made. And part of it was personality test. So having that opportunity to have your hands on all of the types that were available in our university, all of the classes or all of the types of personality tests allowed me to first get a first-hand experience of how to answer all of those things, and most especially how to evaluate the answers. So having that opportunity gave me such a thrill because it helped me discover more about myself. It was around 20 years ago, and the results that I took on one particular test is wonderfully similar to what the result is as of now. I took a Big Five personality test. They classified five basic dimensions of personality, and it's often referred to as the Big Five personality traits. The five broad personality traits described by the theory are: first is extroversion, or X being extrovert, second is agreeableness, third is openness, and the fourth is conscientiousness, and lastly, neuroticism. I know it sounds quite hefty, right? But all of those big five, all of those personality traits are truly helpful for me when I was studying. And now that I went back and took it again, because it's free when you Google it, it's really fascinating and kind of validating to really understand that the little bits and pieces of yourself. So let me share with you the results, the top two of the results that I got. I scored high on openness to experience and high on agreeableness. It's not something new to me because I truly know that I am a very creative person. I'm very open to trying new things. I'm happy to think about abstract concepts or interest in knowing more about people. I feel empathy and concern. I enjoy helping and contributing to the happiness of other people, and I assist others who are in need of help. And that's the big chunk, the big part of my personality, why I became a coach. And all of these discoveries, basically all of these results, have been validating for me. But the great difference is the biggest difference when I took it around 20 years ago and when I took it now is that my inner critic or my inner voice is more compassionate now compared to when I was younger. I have observed that I'm more gentle. I'm gentler with myself, most especially when I talk to myself. And over time, I appreciate the difference, even if the results are the same. I appreciate that how I react to it, how I talk to myself has improved significantly. Personality test is a good way to discover more about ourselves because that's how I started, and it is one way that would help us. And there's another way which also helped me and has been a very significant reason why I am gentler towards myself. And that is the power of coaching or any professional help. Having a coach helped me identify where my limiting beliefs were formed and how I was influenced into believing that it was true. All of my limiting beliefs are connected to big parts of my past, of my experiences, of my upbringing, and all of the things in between that has been cemented in my personality. And that's the reason why I'm acting the way I do and I'm thinking the way I think. And having a coach helped me go back to those parts of my life and unravel the gem in each of those experiences that are sometimes from hurtful experiences and sometimes traumatic ones. It gave me the courage to face all of these moments. It helped me see the value of my experiences, that I am who I am and what I have is a strength rather than a disability. But the most important of all is that it helped me address the limiting beliefs that blocks my creative flow. I am better aware of where these blocks come from, and knowing that, having the power to know where it came from empowers me to face it better, to address it better. And that's where the self-compassion comes in, or comes from, basically. Once we tap and know more about ourselves, once we tap into our own selves, we give ourselves permission to be creative. So, pod friends, what are your limiting beliefs? And how long has it been stopping you in confidently creating content? Look closely. on all of those limiting beliefs. Because behind all of those lies the gems that contains your strengths and gifts. That's it for today, friends. And I hope that this episode sparked something awesome in you. If you'd like to listen more of Wellness Fridays with Coach Joy Karen, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to connect with me on Facebook, just search Joy Karen, the Creativity Coach. The conversation doesn't end here. It continues over to the Podcast Creators Society. And there you'll meet more content creators, most especially podcasters, who are willing to help each other out in this very amazing platform called podcasting. And if you're interested, you can also join us at the Podcast Freelancers Hub. These community help podcasters, and these are podcasters helping other podcasters. So if you have a podcast or interested in creating one, we are inviting you to join us. Most especially, we're looking for founding members at this point. If you feel that this is worth sharing, please do so, and it will help us reach more podcasters and content creators who might be needing that spark of inspiration, creativity, and overall well-being. So again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you once again next week. Don't forget to #SparkleWithin. See you next week. Bye, guys.
Are you ready to finally start your own podcast? Maybe you already have one, but need a podcast manager to help you level up. We're here for either. Book a call at www.kangaroofern.com. www.kangaroofern.com.